Welcome. This is Heart Matters with Benemoss. We know that you would be inspired and strengthened at the end of this podcast. Stay tuned and be blessed.
All right, so welcome back to another episode of Heart Matters with Benemoss. In case you've missed the previous episode, this is your cue to go back and check them out. We've dealt with a lot of wonderful heart matters that are key to your growth and to your success in life. And remember, the purpose of Heart Matters with Benemoss is to inspire faith in a generation and to strengthen the heart of the weary. So in case you find yourself needing inspiration, come on, you know the channel to join. So share to friends, families, and foes. Tell them the Heart Matters with Benemoss is happening. So that brings us to today's episode. Today's episode is a wonderful episode, and it's a very interesting and intriguing heart matter. So what if I told you that your spending habits may be costing you your life? Oh yeah, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about attention. Okay, how do you spend attention? Yes, attention is a currency. And that's why you hear people say, pay attention. You get it? Okay, so it's a currency you exchange for value. And sadly, it's a currency that has been neglected by a lot of people. And guess what? The value you have today is a product of your attention. Hold that thought for a moment. In today's episode, as is our custom, we're going to be answering three major questions. Number one, of course, what really is attention? Number two, how does attention affect who you are and who you're going to be? And number three, where exactly should I spend my attention, since it's a currency? All right, so stay tuned and get the full juice out of this episode. So, what really is attention? Well, apart from the obvious fact that attention is currency, like I've said, there's a word that comes to mind when you hear the word attention, and that's focus. Okay? It has to do with an active focus. It has to do with being alert. Okay? I think the paramilitary and the military guys will understand that better when we say attention, and then you see them stand in a manner that's alert. Okay? And by the way, attention has to do with a lot of sight and sound. Generally, it has to do with your physical senses, your absolute physical senses, but precisely, it has to do more with your sight and your sounds. Attention is active, it's not passive. But sadly, a lot of people give their attention subconsciously to things that don't matter. Again, I say it, attention is active, it's not passive. But a lot of people give their attention subconsciously to things that don't matter. And today I'll show you how to channel your attention in the right direction and to get the best out of life. So that brings us to the next question. How does attention affect who you are currently and who you are going to be? Now remember, I said that attention is active and not passive. And I also said that a lot of people have given their attention subconsciously to things of less value and less important. So now let's start from who you are currently. How did attention form who you are, make who you are? Okay? How does attention determine who you are currently? All right? You are a product of your environment. Yes. And when I mean environment, I mean both physical and mental environment. And guess what? Not just a product of your environment, but a product of the environment you paid attention to. Your current values were purchased with attention. And when I talk about values, I talk about the things that you hold dear, the things that are non-negotiable for you, and the things that are negotiables for you. I mean, the things that make up your conscience. Speaking about conscience, you know that the word conscience is made up of, is from the word consciousness, right? And it means that your consciousness was built, or you say somebody's conscious when the person is active, when the person is alert, when the person's senses can pick information, can send the right information to the brain, then you say, oh, this person is conscious, right? So your conscience is fed by your consciousness. That means over the years, the things that your five senses have fed your mind, right? They belt your values. And guess what? You pick those values, you pick those information when you are alert, right? So many things that you hold there right now to yourself, to your life, is a product of your conscience, right? It's a product of the environment you paid attention to. All right. Let me also pause to say this, that a lot of people are going through certain things in their lives and they think that it just happens, or they think that, in quotes, a spiritual attack. While there's a place for that, right? Many times, if you check your current values, if you want to know the quality of the current values, then check what you pay attention to. Let me chip this in. A lot of people now, a lot of young people struggle with addictions, both drug addictions, both sexual addictions, masturbations, pornography, etc. And if you ask them, say, oh, we can't get out of this, it's stuck, we're stuck. But guess what? They subconsciously feed those values without knowing how. They feed their minds with sad entertainment. When I mean sad entertainment, I mean corrupted pictures, right? Corrupted music, corrupted musings, corrupted images, corrupted ideas. And guess what? Those things they pay their attention to return a value that is demeaning to them, return a value that they don't want, return junk as value, right? So it means that if they really want to fight the addiction, then they must fight what or where they pay their attention to. We're going to talk about this in the last question, right? But going further, Apostle Paul in the Bible spoke a lot about where to put our eyes, where to keep our eyes. You hear him say things like in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 2, looking unto Jesus, right? The author and finisher of our faith. Because he knew something, that if you pay attention to the things that matter, then your life will naturally take the shape of what you pay attention to. All right? In fact, in 2 Corinthians chapter 3, I think verse 18. So Paul said that as we behold as in a mirror, we are being changed into the same image from glory to glory. Okay? In other words, what I see is what I become. Okay? What I hear is what I become. Not what I hear, what I listen to is what I become. Are we together? So what I pay attention to, what I look upon is what I become. What I listen to is what I become. What I ponder on is what I become. Do you see? So who you are currently is a makeup of the things you have paid attention to in the past. So if you think you are successful, it's simply because you have paid attention to successful people in the past. If you look now and it seems you are struggling in certain areas of your life, check it. It's because you have paid attention to places or people or objects or subjects that are contributing now to who you are. All right? Okay? So John rightly puts it in 1 John chapter 3 verse 2. He said, we do not know what we shall be now, but we know that when we see him, talking about Christ, we know we shall be like him. This simply means that if what you are now is a product of your attention over the years, means that what you're going to be in the days to come is a product of where you put your attention now. What you put your attention to, what you give your attention to, affects your imagination. Right? And imagination is a precious gift from God. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. Okay? Imagination is a mental picture. And many people have active imagination. And guess what? If you want to do anything great in this life, your imagination has to be very active. Very active. And check it. Even those guys, even people who are struggling with one addiction or the other, one negative values or the other, check it. They usually picture it before they do it. They struggle with the imagination before they do it. So it means that if I can control my imagination, I can actually to an extent, control the outcomes of my life. It also means that to control my imagination, I have to control my attention. God gave us imagination to be co-creators with Him. Okay? So what putting your attention on negative things does for you is that it shrinks that creativity. It stalls it, right? It darkens it, it dims it. Okay? It makes you focus on wrong values, and instead of creating better values, you build up wrong pictures, which is very sad. So a corrupted or a distracted imagination is a corrupted or distracted life. So since this is true, it means that how we spend our attention matters a lot. It means that how we spend our attention matters a lot. So that brings us to the next and final question. How and where should I spend my attention? So let me say this very categorically. Whatever is not your intention should not get your attention. Okay? Whatever is not your intention should not get your attention. What does that mean? It means that if I don't intend to go to a place, if I don't intend to go to a destination, then I shouldn't pay attention to the road that leads to that destination. That's simply what it means. It also means that if I intend to get to a destination, to get to a place, then I should focus on the road. I should pay my attention to the road that leads to the destination. This is a simple hack to life. And this is a simple hack to controlling your values. And this is a simple hack to controlling your life in a way. Right? So again, I'll say it. Whatever is not your intention should not get your attention. So if you found out that you have been complaining about negative values, you have been complaining about certain contradictions, you have certain contradictions in your life and you don't want them, it's a very simple hack. Focus your attention on the things that will lead you to where you want. So for instance, you want to be a successful person in life, put your attention on success. That's not the time to hear and give attention to people who talk down on success or people who have small mind, who are limited in their thinking. No. You cannot feed your mind with limitations and expect to experience success. No, it's not possible. You cannot feed your mind with sickness and expect to experience sound health. No, it's not possible. You cannot fix your mind on bad relationships, chaotic relationship, and expect to have a blissful relationship. I had this conversation with someone, and I talked to the person about the rate of divorce in the society, especially in African societies. It was not a norm before, until high exposure to Hollywood and the entertainment industry generally. It became a norm in movies, in music, to divorce, right? To not see relationships through. And all of a sudden, the African culture began to adapt it gradually and subtly. I've always said this, that one of the fastest ways to shape culture is through entertainment industry. And that's why we don't take our entertainment, we don't take your source of entertainment for granted. Watch out for the videos you watch, okay? If you notice that you are one given to addictions, especially sexual addictions, it's a simple hack. Cut down on movies and music that suggest nudity, because those things fuel your mind, and the output of that is usually those negative values. So it's a simple hack. When you spend your attention for the right values, your life falls in the right place. All right? Watch and listen to people who have done the things that you have done. It made a lot of sense that Jesus' disciples will almost do 10x what Jesus was doing when he was on earth. Why? Because when they were with him, they paid attention to the things that he was doing. And the result was clear, like night and day. So it's the same thing. If you give yourself wholly, right, to the right things, to life, to goodness in life, the feedback you will get is goodness. If you give yourself wholly to evil, the feedback you get is evil. So let me chip this in also, that you want to see love grow, give attention to it. Of course, if a relationship is not your intention, don't give it your attention. But if it is really your intention, pay attention to your partner and see what happens. Maybe because you're looking outside too much, that's why. So 3 John says, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. And for your soul to prosper, you need to feed it. You need to pay attention to the right things. Okay? Your soul is the seat of your mind. Okay? Right? It's where your mind is seated. So for you to prosper, you need to feed your mind with the right things. Paul will say, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love, of power, and of a sound mind. Emphasis on a sound mind. So realize that there's a current battle for your attention. In fact, people get paid now on social media because they have your attention. Of course, more likes means more attention. More views means more attention. So that's the currency. And that's even a hack for prosperity now, is that if you can get the attention, you'll prosper. That's what it simply means. Okay? So people, there's a solid battle for your attention. God needs your attention. The devil needs your attention. So whoever you yield your attention to, your life will just follow suit that way. So simple hack. You want to see a consistent walk with God, pay attention to Him. Pay attention to the Bible. Pay attention to prayers. Pay attention to fellowship with believers. And it works seamlessly that way. Yeah. Sadly, side attractions can become distractions. And when they become distractions, they begin to dissuade you or remove you from where you're supposed to be, from the path you're supposed to follow. So watch out for side attractions. Okay? I have noticed and I've learned by experience also that when you give a focused, repetitive approach to certain things in life, the results are very glaring, right? So finally, Moses' face began to shine because he paid attention to God. He was in the presence of God, looking at Him, beholding His face, okay? So if you want to see that glow in your life, again, pay attention to God, specifically. Pay attention to God. Pay attention to the things of God. Pay attention to the voice of the Lord. Pay attention to the people of God. All right? And in that way, you're going to keep seeing a upward and forward trajectory of your life. So in conclusion, if you see any major shift in your life, any major upward and forward movement in your life, then just simply learn to control how you spend your attention. Watch your watch hours. Watch your screen time. Okay? Check. Good thing, most devices now can tell you where you spend most of your time. So check. Am I spending most of my time on things that matter or on junks? Remember, attention can either be an exchange for value or for junk. So choose what you receive for your currency. Now say this after me. I give my attention to the things that matter. My life is characterized by upward and forward movements. There are no junks in my life. There's no space for distraction. Whatever is not my intention does not have my attention. I keep moving forward. I keep moving steady because I'm the blessed man and I'm living the blessed life. See you in the next episode and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you for staying tuned. We believe you have been blessed. Remember to like, comment, and share to friends, family, and foes. Until next time, keep living the blessed life.